You might think the deadliest roads in America would be winding mountain passes or icy northern highways. But what if I told you that some of the most lethal routes are also the busiest and most familiar? Every day, millions of Americans commute, travel, and transport goods across highways that seem ordinary until tragedy strikes. In this video, we continue our journey through America's 6 most dangerous highways, counting down from 6 to the deadliest of them all. Let's dive into the asphalt arteries where high speed meets high stakes. Slot number 6 goes to a highway that looks safe on the surface, but hides a deadly streak beneath its asphalt. This is a road I've driven before, and let me tell you, it doesn't look dangerous. In fact, that's the trap. It begins innocently enough. Interstate 15 stretches over 1,400 miles, connecting the sun-baked suburbs of Southern California to the flashing lights of Las Vegas, and even reaching as far as the Canadian border. But beneath the road signs and desert skyline, I-15 carries a dark reputation. It's one of the most dangerous highways in America. Especially between Las Vegas and Los Angeles, this stretch becomes a corridor of risk. Why? It's simple. High speeds, heavy traffic, drunk driving, and desert heat. Every weekend, the highway fills with thrill-seekers heading to Vegas and weary gamblers returning home, often tired, distracted, or worse, intoxicated. The road is deceptively straight. Drivers push the speed limit, 80, 90, even 100 miles per hour, because it feels safe. But when accidents happen, they're violent. There are few barriers. Emergency response can be delayed in the desert. And on hot summer days, tire blowouts or engine failures can become deadly traps under the unforgiving sun. The statistics are chilling. The I-15 corridor between Las Vegas and Los Angeles has seen more than 1,000 fatalities in the past 15 years. And it's not just locals. Out-of-state drivers unfamiliar with desert driving conditions are especially vulnerable. Add to that the influx of holiday traffic and the temptation of one last drink before hitting the road, and the danger multiplies. Even truckers, who rely on this route to haul goods between major cities, admit that I-15 is unlike any other. It lulls drivers into a false sense of security, only to strike in a flash. It's fast, it's wide, and it looks harmless. But I-15 is proof that the most dangerous roads are not always the ones that twist and turn. They're the ones that make you feel invincible. Coming in at number 5 is a highway that doesn't just challenge drivers. It pushes them into the heart of America's most unpredictable storms. Interstate 35 is more than just a road. It's a lifeline that slices down the middle of the country, connecting Duluth, Minnesota, to Laredo, Texas. But if you've ever driven it, especially through Oklahoma or Kansas, you know this isn't just a highway. It's a test of nerves. I-35 runs straight through Tornado Alley, an area infamous for violent, fast-moving storms. On any given spring afternoon, clear skies can turn into chaos within minutes. Dark clouds swirl, wind speeds spike, and rain can blind you in seconds. There are stretches where there's no shelter, no exit, no overpass. Just open plains and rising panic. But the weather isn't the only threat. Interstate 35 has become a major artery for commercial trucks hauling goods north and south. The result? Congested lanes, constant merging, and long-haul drivers pushing their limits. Accidents here are common, many involving multi-vehicle pileups triggered by sudden downpours or poor visibility. What makes it even worse is the false sense of openness. You're driving through flat land, big sky, no sharp turns, it feels safe. But then comes a storm cell dropping hail the size of golf balls, or a sudden dust storm that cuts visibility to zero. The danger on I-35 isn't just physical, it's psychological. It creeps in slowly, then strikes all at once. Cities like Oklahoma City, Dallas, and Austin depend on this highway daily, which means traffic never sleeps. Add in aggressive driving, erratic weather, and a lack of safe pullovers, and you have a perfect cocktail for disaster. Interstate 35 doesn't make the news often, but for locals, truckers, and storm chasers, it's known as one of the most unpredictable and unforgiving roads in the country. At number 4 is a highway that spans coast to coast, but hides some of America's most unforgiving driving conditions. Interstate 10 stretches more than 2,460 miles from the Pacific waters of Santa Monica, California, to the humid shores of Jacksonville, Florida. It's one of the longest interstate highways in the United States. But what makes I-10 truly dangerous isn't just its length, it's what lies along the way. If you've ever driven through the deserts of Arizona or West Texas, you'll know that I-10 is a test of endurance. You can drive for hours with no sign of civilization, just dust, heat, and empty road. Cell service? Spotty at best. Gas stations? Sometimes 100 miles apart. And when something goes wrong, like a flat tire or overheated engine, you could be stranded, exposed to triple-digit heat, with no help in sight. Then comes Louisiana. From Baton Rouge to New Orleans, I-10 becomes a different kind of nightmare. Torrential rains, swamps, raised bridges, and aggressive drivers who treat every lane like a racetrack. Flooding is a real threat here, sometimes closing the highway entirely. In the summer, a single thunderstorm can leave entire stretches underwater in minutes. And don't forget the 18-wheelers. This route is heavily used by commercial traffic, trucks hauling cargo from ports in California and Texas all the way to the East Coast. Long-haul drivers under pressure to meet deadlines often push past the limits of safe driving. The result? Accidents, pileups, rollovers, and tragically, fatalities. Despite all that, many Americans rely on I-10 daily. It connects major cities like Phoenix, San Antonio, Houston, and Mobile. But if you're unprepared, especially for the heat, the storms, or the fatigue, Interstate 10 doesn't forgive mistakes. It's wide, it's long, it's vital. But beneath the asphalt, I-10 is a road that demands respect, or it will make you pay. At number 3 is not a multi-lane interstate. It's a narrow, winding mountain road, and it's as beautiful as it is deadly. Welcome to U.S. Route 550, also known as the Million Dollar Highway. This stretch of road cuts through the heart of Colorado's San Juan Mountains, linking the towns of Ouray, Silverton, and Durango. Some say the name Million Dollar refers to the cost of construction. Others say it's because the views are worth $1 million. But for many drivers, especially those not used to mountain roads, it's $1 million gamble every time. This highway climbs to elevations over 11,000 feet. There are no guardrails, no shoulders, and in many places, the edge of the pavement is just inches away from sheer cliffs that drop hundreds of feet. One wrong move, one distraction, one patch of black ice, and it's over. The road is open year-round, but in winter, it becomes treacherous. Snowstorms come quickly. Fog can reduce visibility to nothing. And when it freezes, even locals admit, you're not driving, you're surviving. Emergency services? Sparse. Cell service? Spotty. And if you're afraid of heights, this road will test every nerve in your body. Truckers often avoid it. Even seasoned RV drivers think twice. Yet tourists pour in, drawn by the promise of majestic peaks and fall colors. Some of them never make it back. Every year, local rescue teams respond to rollovers, vehicle recoveries from ravines, and tragic falls. Most could have been avoided, with lower speeds, more caution, and fewer selfies near the edge. The Million Dollar Highway is a marvel of American engineering. But it's also a reminder. Sometimes the most dangerous roads aren't in big cities or deserts, but in the places that take your breath away, literally and fatally. Coming in at number 2 is a highway that feels like paradise until it turns into a nightmare. U.S. Route 1 through the Florida Keys offers one of the most scenic drives in America. Picture this: turquoise waters on both sides, sea breezes, and a seemingly endless road that stretches from Miami all the way to Key West. It's a postcard come to life. But that same beauty hides a brutal truth. Locals call it the Overseas Death Way. This stretch of US 1 includes the famous 7-mile bridge, a marvel of engineering connecting dozens of islands across open ocean. But what many don't realize is how dangerous it becomes, especially during peak travel months. There are no alternate routes. If there's an accident, you're stuck. Emergency services can't reroute. Medical evacuations must be done by air or by boat. And with tourists, RVs, rental cars, and motorcycles all sharing the same narrow two-lane road, the risks multiply fast. Add Florida's unpredictable rainstorms, slick roads, and the distraction of endless views, and what you get is a recipe for disaster. Speeding and drunk driving are consistent issues, and the temptation to pass slower traffic can turn deadly. One bad judgment call, one blind curve over a small rise, and it's a head-on collision with nowhere to escape. Over the last decade, hundreds of lives have been lost on this stretch, and many were out-of-towners who underestimated the road's challenges. The scenery lulled them into a false sense of security. But nature doesn't forgive distraction. The irony? This road was built to unite paradise. But in moments of carelessness, it becomes the final drive. So if you're ever tempted to floor it across the bridges of the Keys, remember, the ocean may be calm, the skies may be blue, but on the overseas deathway, danger is always just one decision away. And finally, at number 1, we arrive at the undisputed champion of chaos, Interstate 95. Ask any long-haul trucker, seasoned commuter, or emergency responder, and they'll tell you the same thing. I-95 is where madness lives. Stretching nearly 2,000 miles from Miami, Florida to the Canadian border in Maine, I-95 slices through the most densely populated corridor in the United States. It passes through major cities like Jacksonville, Richmond, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston, each one adding a fresh layer of congestion, aggression, and unpredictability. But it's not just traffic. It's the sheer volume of it, combined with impatient drivers, constant construction zones, reckless lane switching, and every kind of road rage imaginable. One moment you're crawling along in gridlock. The next, cars are flying past you at 90 miles per hour, weaving in and out with inches to spare. Some stretches, especially in South Florida, around the D.C. Beltway, and parts of New Jersey, are notorious for multi-car pileups, deadly high-speed chases, and accidents that shut down all lanes for hours. Add to that the daily mix of commuters, tourists, trucks, and distracted drivers, and you've got the perfect recipe for catastrophe. The numbers don't lie. I-95 consistently ranks as the deadliest highway in the country, with hundreds of fatalities every single year. Some years, it sees more deadly crashes than any other road in the nation. And here's the cruel irony. People use I-95 not because they want to, but because they have to. It's the spine of the East Coast, the only realistic option for millions trying to get to work, deliver goods, or visit loved ones. You can plan, prepare, and drive defensively, but on I-95, you're still one distracted driver away from disaster. So if you're ever merging onto this beast of a road, take a breath. Buckle up. Keep your eyes wide open. Because on I-95, survival isn't guaranteed. It's earned 1 mile at a time. So you've just seen the 6 most dangerous highways in America. These roads aren't just scary, they're deadly. Even a familiar route can turn into a trap if you're not careful. So please, stay alert, drive safe, and respect the road. What about you? Have you driven any of these highways? Or do you know a road that should have made the list? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're listening.